Hi, my name is Stephanie Boozer. I'm with CUGC HQ, and I'm happy to welcome you to today's Connect webinar. Going to be talking about all the new updates and latest features for Citrix Workspace App, and I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff today, so I'm excited to get us going. But before we dive into that, just have a couple of announcements for you. Our next two XL events are coming up pretty quickly. We've got one in Chicago in May and one in New York City in June. And looking forward to both of those. We've got great speakers on the Citrix side. We've got Jason Samuel, who I think you guys may remember from maybe some CUGC meetings in the past. Also in New York, we'll have Calvin Su. He's going to give us a great update on Citrix. And then we have lots of CTPs and awesome community members that will be presenting. So if you can make your way to either of those events, we'd love to have you. They're open to all CUGC members. You don't have to be local, and I'm sure it helps if you are, but you are welcome to attend from anywhere. I'll put a link in the chat in just a bit for you to get information on those. Also, CUGC is now on Slack and Discord, so you can carry on your conversations on either channel or both. By default, when you join the channels, your general channels are public, but there are private channels for each of our local groups. So if you want to connect with your local groups, there's a form for you out there. You'll see the instructions when you sign up, and we can put you in your private local group and you can get connected right away. All right, so a couple of housekeeping details for us. We are recording today's session, and you will get a recording in the email tomorrow. I'll send that out to you all. There'll be a link to that. Also, any supporting links that go with this presentation today, I'll include those as well. We do have a separate chat and a Q&A panel, so type your questions into the Q&A panel as you have them, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can today. We may answer some during the presentation, and we may save some for the end, but I do want you to type them in as you have them so you don't forget. And definitely say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from, and hope we can oh, sorry, I see a chat message already there. David, I will try to help you in just a second. All right. With us today from Citrix, we have Manju and Oommen and Prashanth Nagaraj. Both of them are in India, and they are coming to us late at night. So really appreciate you being here with us today. I'm going to go ahead and turn everything over to you both. I know you've got a lot of stuff to get through and some demos, so excited to see all that. So here you go. Take it away.
Thank you, Steph. Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending upon where you're dialing in from. We're very thrilled and happy to take you through what's new from Workspace App perspective. So before we get started, we'll just take a look at what the strategy is. Yeah, thank you, Prashanth. So I'm not sure how many of you have gone through this session or the YouTube video, which is out there for early March. So we had our executive leadership addressing and talking about reintroducing Citrix. Since we've gone private, there's been a lot of news out there since we've gone private, and what, and a lot of ambiguity in terms of what our direction would be. But we can tell you with all confidence, there is a acceleration of investment into the platform itself. So our enterprise platform to access apps and desktop, we are accelerating in that direction. So if you haven't gone through this session, I would really encourage you to go through it. It articulates in detail the areas of investment that we are driving, especially from this year. And as far as the strategy is concerned, in simple terms, we're going to be supporting Citrix platform, the enterprise platform to access apps and desktop across any deployment model, which means that if your area of deployment is on the cloud and your direction is to transition to cloud, then we help you, we support you because we are investing in that direction. But however, for whatever reasons, for regulatory reasons or from a pure return on investment perspective, you would like to run your workloads on-prem, we support you there as well. And we do believe hybrid is the direction. Majority of what we are seeing with engagement with a lot of you and a lot of customers out there, that we do see hybrid as a destination and not a pit stop towards the journey to cloud. So this is an area that we are heavily focusing on, and we'll continue to focus on. And you would hopefully see in a lot of what's new with Citrix Workspace app that's actually getting reiterated. Hopefully you can see what's what's already there and what's already generally available, and what's in tech preview reflects the new direction. Yeah. Moving forward, as part of our strategy, the latest strategy that we are driving towards, we do have two separate platforms, right? The access layer on-prem is called Storefront. The access layer on cloud is called Workspace. And obviously, the investments in the past couple of years has been significantly on the cloud, and we did not invest as much in Storefront. But that's not going to be the case going forward. We would be investing in Storefront. In fact, we are moving in the direction of having a single platform, irrespective of where you're deploying. It shouldn't matter. We should be able to support you irrespective from a capability perspective. So perhaps this image could be misunderstood. That is three separate platforms. That's not the direction. That's not the idea. The idea is that we're moving towards a single platform we can support, whether you're deployed on cloud or on-prem. Moving forward, thank you. So today's session, we're going to be focusing on Workspace app, but irrespective of that, throughout Citrix BU, business unit, which is now part of the cloud software group, there are four key focus area or four key pillars that we're going to be focusing on with respect to product deliverables and product roadmap. One is the end user experience, which is the experience from an end user logging into the application, to enumeration, to the experience within the app, and when the app or desktop is launched, the performance within the virtual desktop or virtual app, the in-session experience is all what we would be focusing on. And that focus is going to be across platform, across operating system. Another pillar that we will be focusing on is operational efficiency. So we've released recently a tool and services to enable administration and administrative control, essentially providing you the capability to easily manage all client applications across operating system, as well as whether it's a managed device or unmanaged device. So I think some of this part would be covered by Prashanth today in terms of what has already been delivered and some of the things which is in tech preview as well. Third pillar is security and compliance, which we've been focusing on, we'll continue to focus on, which is to do with login security, access security, and network security. And finally, choice of flexibility. I think this has been an area where Citrix always have been very, very prominently supporting, which is any. So irrespective of any device, any platform, and any access layer that you're supporting, we would be supporting you and providing you that choice and flexibility. Yeah, so moving forward, so Prashanth is going to drive through the entire session. He's going to take you through what's new, a lot of interesting demos. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, please type it in the chat. We will address those questions directly. And if there are questions which needs follow-up, we will take it offline and follow up with you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Prashanth.
Thank you, Manju. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you again for taking time and joining us today. Before I actually get into what's new and the new features that we've kind of launched over the past 6 months, I want to reiterate on the goal that we've set ourselves for Workspace app. And it kind of ties into the priorities that Manju already spoke about, right? We want the app to be simple, intuitive to use. We want the app to be fast. When I say fast, I mean, the user should have access to their work applications and launch work applications faster. The app should be secure. The company IP is protected, and also not compromise on performance, right? It's not one over the other. And finally, the app should be easy to manage. So that's the goal. That's the mission statement for Workspace app. And whatever features that we've built over the past year or so, and the features that we're going to build going forward, is keeping this goal in mind, this mission statement in mind. With that, let's look at some of the user experience enhancements that we brought. Firstly, Windows. With respect to Windows, there are a multitude of features that we've introduced. The first thing that we did was enhance the loading experience itself. Recently, we've provided a new launch progress notification for the user. When in the past, when you launch a resource, a desktop or an application, it was a disjointed progress notification. So you used to see like a Windows dialog, which would show some sort of a progress notification for the user. And then the desktop viewer used to launch, and again, some progress notification that used to be a gray spinner, right? So we've kind of consolidated that and provide progress notification for the user at the bottom right. Now, if you look at the graphic here, you'll see that notification at the bottom right. So any resource application that the user launches, the notification shows up at the bottom right, and the resource is launched once it's active and ready. So it's just one single notification window now. It's more intuitive for the user. The second experience improvement that we have done is enhance the reconnect experience in general, right? When I talk about reconnect, I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of the session transfer and workspace control feature that we have today. Any session that's active on another device, or a session that's inactive too, if the user switches from one device to another, depending on the policy that's set, the inactive sessions and also the active sessions that are running on a device kind of shows up on the new device that the user is on, right? It's extremely disruptive. There is no indication of sessions being shown up to the user. So what we have done is we've given them a prompt now. So with this, the user knows that there are active sessions running, whether it's on the same device or another device. It's a notification that the user sees, a prompt that the user sees, and it's a choice for the user to either restore them or not, right? So that experience is completely improved. And finally, we also, going back to that theme of quick access to work application, we've introduced a quick access jump list on Windows. Right? When I say quick access jump list, what that means is if I have to access my work application today, obviously there are desktop shortcuts, but what the user would have to do if there is no desktop shortcut is launch the workspace application to get to accessing their resource. So with jump list, we provide the user with a recent application and desktop on the workspace app pinned to the taskbar itself. So if you look at this image here, workspace app is pinned to the taskbar. You click on the app, it shows you a jump list of all recent apps and desktop that the users have accessed, and they can get to their work applications quicker. Keeping that quick theme in mind, we've introduced another feature, which is getting to the work application or accessing the work applications faster, right? So we've introduced a feature which is currently in tech review of a disconnected session pre-launch. So it's very similar to that, except it's for disconnected desktops. So what this will do is, a desktop that's disconnected, that's running in the backend for the user. When the user launches it again, there is still some calls that we have to make, and there is still some preparation that we need to make for the desktop to launch, a disconnected desktop to launch. So there is some time consumed to do all that. So with the pre-launch, we keep it ready, right? So we keep the disconnected desktop already ready. And when the user restarts the app and launches the desktop, it's very quick. It launches really quick. And that's what the graphics there shows, right? And if you see, when I access that desktop, it kind of shows up immediately for the user, right? So that's quick. Shifting gears, let's look at what we've introduced with Mac. We've enhanced the experience on Mac by supporting Silicon natively, right? The Workspace app on Mac today supports Silicon natively, and we've seen some significant performance improvements because of that. We've seen up to 50% reduction in CPU usage there. There's increased graphic performance that we've seen. If you look at the the statistics here. This is again based on internal testing. We've seen an improvement of more than 10 frames per second, right, with graphics on a silicon processor. So it is a significant bit of a performance jump that we've seen. And over and above, there's another feature that we've introduced, very similar to the jump list that we have on Windows. It's called a quick launch menu, right? So on Mac, a quick launch menu, it provides access to, again, recent apps and desktops, and also favorite apps and desktops of the user. It's a quicker way to get to work applications. It's available on the dock. Let me quickly show you. I'm actually on a Mac. Let me show you that. You see this Workspace app that's on the dock? When I click the app, this is the quick launch menu, right? The user gets access to the reasons and favorites immediately here on the quick launch menu, and they can launch it from here instead of having to launching the app separately. Those are some new features that we've introduced with Mac. And before we actually get to other new features, I wanted to take a quick pause here and run a poll. We've seen the benefits of silicon, ARM devices. I wanted to check if your organization plans to leverage ARM64 devices for Windows 2 and run Workspace app on them. So your feedback would certainly help. Let's take a quick 2-minute pause here for you to kind of provide us feedback.
I'll let it go a couple more seconds. It looks like about, a little over half, almost 75% have responded. So I'll close it out in just another couple seconds.
Sure.
And meanwhile, there's one question we can potentially address, Prashanth, is so the disconnected session, the quick launch scenario, right? So from a concurrent license perspective, so there's a question in terms of if they're running concurrent license, is it going to consume, with the pre-launch side, will consume the concurrent license on the post-launch side?
Yeah, that is correct. It's actually a session that is disconnected, which means that it is still active and running at the backend. So license is already being consumed. It's not a session that's not active. That's the difference, right? On a virtual application, the application is not running, it's not active. You kind of pre-launch it, and that's when it starts consuming another license. With a disconnected session or a disconnected desktop, it's already running, it's inactive, right? It's already consuming a license. So it's not additional license that's consumed, it's license that's already being consumed that's going to be used. All right. If nothing else, I'm going to hand the baton over to Manju. She's going to walk you through some of the new features that we've built for Workspace App Linux.
So just to brief you all. So from a Workspace app for Linux perspective, how do we function in general is we collaborate a lot with the largest thin client vendors, major thin client vendors in the market, like IGEL, Stratodesk, Unicorn, Dell, HP, and so on. We obviously would deliver the capabilities that we have across platform on Windows, Mac, and so on, and in terms of ensuring that those capabilities are also available on Linux. So the testing that we do is also from a fat client perspective. So we do testing on Ubuntu versions, TPN versions, CentOS, and so on, or the multiple distributors which these thin client vendors also consume. We do collaborate very extensively with these large thin client vendors to ensure they onboard and test on their native operating system to ensure the capabilities are made available and the go-to-market is actually as soon as possible. So that's the general mechanism in which we work on Citrix Workspace app for Linux. So from a deliverable perspective, we recently introduced a lot of capabilities, especially from ensuring parity across platform, ensuring that the latest and the greatest features are also available on Citrix Workspace App for Linux if you're consuming the solution through thin client vendors or otherwise. So we had a lot of multimedia features which was introduced. So BCR, which is browser content redirection, ensuring that some of the allowed list applications are not consuming the CPU RAM and the network on the VDA itself. It will be locally consuming your bandwidth, which ensures that your performance and the consumptions on the VDA side is limited. Right? So that's a capability that we've introduced and made available. Adaptive audio, there's a multimedia capabilities on HDX 3D Pro. So if your workloads leverage GPUs, if it's CAD or manufacturing workloads that you use, this should enable and provide you much better performance, right? We did introduce a lot of Teams optimization, Microsoft Teams optimization capability with respect to screen sharing, background blurring, requesting control, and more. Most of the capabilities which you should see available on Windows should also be available on the Linux operating system now. Service continuity for our customers who are on cloud and are leveraging thin client ecosystem. We have service continuity which has been introduced. So if your users and if you are accessing the, you are actually maintaining a connection to the workspace and you've started doing your work, irrespective of the health status of your cloud connection. So if you've gone offline briefly and you're coming back online, you can continue to still work, and it happens in the background so that the user does not get disrupted from their work perspective, right? And the work gets merged and uploaded into the overall solution. Yeah.
Thank you, Manju.
Thank you.
So that's Linux. There are multiple, multitude of features that we've introduced on mobile too. In fact, before I get to that, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about our strategy on mobile in general, right? So if you look at mobile, there are two different form factors. One is the mobile phones, the smaller screens and smaller form factors, and then you have tablet devices, which have bigger screens. In fact, tablet devices today have better processors. They give you great performance along with bigger screen sizes. So our strategy for mobile and tablet is a little different. For mobile, what we're looking at, obviously you can still go ahead and access your DAS applications on mobile, but we are looking at providing a companion use case on mobile. A mobile workspace app can be used to do some quick actions on a virtual desktop or a session that's running on a Windows laptop or a Mac laptop. So that's kind of our vision for a smaller form factor mobile. For tablets, the feedback from customers have been very, very loud. There are a lot of customers wanting to use tablets as primary devices, and not across all users, but users who are kind of on the field, mobile. They want to have that flexibility of mobility in general. So those users want to use tablets. Executives want to use tablets. So we're looking at tablets as primary device use case, and one of the objectives there is to bring the tablet feature parity compared to a desktop app, right? A Windows Workspace app or a Mac Workspace app, the features that it has, we want to kind of bring the same level of feature set on tablets too, right? So we'll discuss a little bit more about this in detail in the next couple of slides. Let me quickly jump into the new features that we've introduced, right? If you look at the tablet as a primary device use case, over the recent past, we've introduced webcam redirection on tablet devices. When I say webcam redirection, we support both front and rear camera. Both front and rear camera support is available on iOS today. Android supports front, rear is coming soon. But yeah, we support both front and rear camera in a session. I want to show a quick video of the same for you. So, I'm launching the Workspace app here. on the Workspace app, once it's launched, I'm going to launch a Chrome application, which is virtualized. We're going to use a webcam tool there, and I'll show you how you could leverage webcams of the device, both front and rear. Right. So this is the front camera that's going to show up first. You'll have a floating button right at the bottom to switch cameras. You can switch that, and you can move this floating icon anywhere you want to within on the screen, right? So that it doesn't disrupt, so it's not very disruptive to what you're doing. So that's webcam redirection. That feature is supported, and again, keeping a tablet as a primary device theme. We've integrated natively with a lot of OS features, and today with these features, you could kind of multitask on a mobile and a tablet like you've never done before, right? So one of the features that we introduced was picture-in-picture. This is in tech preview today on iOS. On Android, it's going to come soon. What picture-in-picture does is when you're running a session on a mobile device or a tablet today, the session runs within the same window as that of the UI. So some of the customers came to us and say, hey, listen, if I have to access the UI for some time, say I want to check real quick what the version of the Workspace app is, the only way that I can do it now is disconnect the session and go back, right? It's not a very good experience. So what picture-in-picture does is you could minimize the session if you want to. It kind of drops it down to a picture-in-picture window, and you can access the UI window behind, right? Let me just run you a quick video of that again. So this is a mobile device, iOS device. I'm gonna run a web application first. So on the web application, you have an option to minimize, and it kind of drops down to a picture-in-picture window that you see there. And then you could run simultaneously, if you want to, a desktop app, and you could collapse the picture-in-picture window. You could kind of float it anywhere on the screen you want, and you could run a desktop application with web app running simultaneously. Let me quickly forward this a bit. And yeah, there you go. You can run the desktop session and a web app session if you want, and you can switch between them. When you access the web app session, the desktop session kind of drops down into a picture-in-picture window. You access the desktop session, the web app session kind of drops down into a picture-in-picture window, right? So that's the power of PIP, helps you multitask on both mobile and tablets. We've introduced DPI matching on Android. I'm going to show a couple of graphics here. The first one right at the top is without DPI scaling or matching, and you can see the difference there, right? I mean, without DPI matching, the icons are really small, the text is really small. Accessing the desktop on a tablet is not all that great. The accessibility is not all that great. With DPI scaling, it's auto DPI scaling, by the way. There's nothing that user has to do. It's automatically scaled. You can see the difference. The icons are bigger, the text is bigger, the accessibility is much better. And we've also introduced extended display on Android. So, going back to that use case of a field executive, a sales executive that's on the field, they're using a tablet device, they're on the field, they're using the tablet device to access work applications. They come back to an office, they sit at their desk, they want to have that flexibility of using external peripherals such as a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. So this helps them do that. On Android devices, whether it is a phone or tablet, you'll be able to connect to an external monitor, keyboard, and a mouse when at your desk. And the same on tablet, on iPad devices. Apple is getting into the enterprise scene, and they're delivering features to kind of attract enterprise customers, right? And we've seen that with Mac, with the silicons. You see what kind of performance silicon provides. So yeah, Apple wants to get into the enterprise market. And again, with tablets, what they've done is they've introduced a feature with 16.2, the iPadOS 16.2, called Stage Manager. What Stage Manager does is provides you with the capability of running 4 different applications on an iPad screen. So everything runs within a window. And if you're connected to an external monitor, you can run up to 8 different applications. And I'm talking about native mobile applications, not virtual apps and desktops. We're not there yet, but we'll soon get there. But today, we support Stage Manager. We can run the Workspace app in windowed mode if you want to. And Apple with 16.2 also introduced extended display. They used to support just mirror before, so you could mirror the screen of an iPad when connected to an external monitor. With Extend, as the name suggests, you could extend, right? And a couple of quick videos there. The first one is to show you the windowed mode, right? You could run the app. You could run the Workspace app in windowed mode. The session, as you see, is running in windowed mode. You could resize the window. You could run other applications side by side. You could group these applications and put them in a side dock if you want to. So that's the power of Stage Manager and windowed mode. And with extended display, this video kind of will show you. See, if you have the app running, the session running on the iPad screen, you could move that session to an external monitor, resize it, full screen it if you want to. And this leaves your iPad screen free to run other native applications, right? So that's the true power of multitasking that's available today with Stage Manager and our integration with Stage Manager. So this is, all features that we've introduced for using tablets as a primary device. When I spoke about companion use cases, one specific companion use case that I want to talk about, and I want to go back to that example of a field sales executive, right? A sales executive that's on the field, meeting customers, entertaining customers, raking up bills. They go back to the office, they have to claim their bills. The T&E application, the travel and expense application, let's say is virtualized and it's running on a desktop, endpoint. Rapid Scan is the feature that's available on mobile phones. It's in tech preview today. With Rapid Scan, what you could do is you could leverage the Workspace app running on mobile to quickly take a photograph of those physical invoices and seamlessly transfer that into the virtual session directly where the T&E application is running, right? And this video kind of captures that. On the, let me just quickly pause here, right? Let me show you. So this is the physical, this is the Mac endpoint, and we've connected the mobile phone here. This is the mobile phone, right? This is the screen sharing of mobile phone that you see. On the Mac, there is an option called Rapid Scan, the Mac Workspace app. User clicks Rapid Scan, there's a QR code that's shown. You launch the Workspace app on mobile, there's Rapid Scan, you could scan the QR code and then quickly take photos on your phone and transfer that over to the physical endpoint there, the Mac endpoint there. It seamlessly transfers over. That's the companion use case of Rapid Scan that we've recently introduced. This is in tech preview. What I want to do is I want to take again a quick pause here and run a quick poll and get your feedback. I wanted to understand, that now that you've seen companion use cases of Rapid Scan, would you adopt that, or would you adopt any other companion use cases that's listed here as a part of this poll? Your feedback will definitely help. Manju, any questions on the chat that we need to address?
Yeah, plenty actually. So a couple of things I think I've managed to address. I think one of the questions from Wilson was in terms of an experience issue when sessions were moved from one screen to the other, and if it has been resolved. I'm just checking if it is on the iPad did have that concern, but with Stage Manager, I think we've kind of resolved that issue. If it still exists, you should let us know. And if,
sure.
I'm just letting Wilson know. So he's basically talking about Citrix session window stays out of display when switching from multiple screen to single screen. Has it been resolved? So I think it's an existing issue that he's referring to. I'm hoping it is resolved from whatever we've tested so far, but if there are any specific scenarios, do let us know. Yeah, and if there is any ticket against it, will be helpful if you can paste it, and we can definitely look into it and address.
Yeah, ticket would definitely help. I don't know if that's on a Windows app or a Mac or mobile.
So we're talking about tablets.
Or tablets. Oh yeah. I think that that issue, that's a known issue, and we are fixing that. That issue is fixed with the upcoming release.
Thank you.
It looks like majority say all of the features for companion use cases are a good value add. So thank you for that. With that, I want to switch gears here and talk about security and some of the new features that we have introduced. We're keeping this priority in mind. We're looking at login security itself and how do we improve login security to the app. There are, again, multiple features that we've introduced in the recent past. We've introduced modern authentication, support for modern authentication, which includes passwordless with Windows Hello, passwordless with FIDO2 with external security keys. And when I say FIDO2 with external security keys, it's for logging into the app, the Workspace app itself, and that's available on Windows today. And also from within the session, not to the session. To the session, you would still need FAS, but yeah, we're looking at improving that. But within the session, if there is any application that requires FIDO2, that requires external security keys as step apart, we're going to make that available, right? So that option is available. That is a recent feature that we put out. We also have new smart cards that we support on iOS. Phaeton is one of them. Phaeton smart cards are supported. We've introduced inactivity timeout also for Workspace customers. On Workspace, I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of the fact that we support long-lived tokens, long-lived passwords. So some customers have come back and said, hey, listen, if the session is idle for too long, more than 15, 20 minutes, is there a way we could kind of time out or have some sort of an idle timeout? So that's inactivity timeout, and that's available in the product today. And we've heard a lot of feedback from customers, from partners, from your community at the end of the day to improve documentation. Tell us more about login mechanisms, login options, authentication options, the various auth options that we support. Is there a central repository where all this is documented? Good news is that we do have a TechZone article now available. Manju, would you be able to post that link in the chat window for the TechZone article? Yeah,
I can.
So the TechZone article kind of captures all authentication mechanisms that's available today for the app. It also talks about single sign-on and what carries over to the VDA and when FAS is required. So it's a very detailed article. I'm pretty sure you'll be very happy. And we're more than happy to get feedback on that. There should be a send feedback available on the TechZone article, and please let us know if there is anything missing there and you want us to add something there. With that, I want to quickly run you through a demo of FIDO2 on Windows app. Apologize for the quality here, but yeah. So this is the Windows app. We have a UB key that's ready, set up and ready to go. We're logging into a cloud store, and on the cloud store, it's set up to do AAD authentication. The IDP is Azure AD, and Azure AD is set up to do external keys, right? Security key. So there you go. We select security key, and then it's prompted. The user is prompted for a PIN. Once the user enters the PIN, you just have to touch the security key once. You touch the security key, and voila, you're inside, right? You don't have to enter the password. So the user does not have to remember complicated passwords anymore. All that they need is a security key, a UB key, and an IDP that supports YubiKey and Fido2. And that's it. You're inside the Workspace app, and you can access your applications and desktops. Right? And talking about operational efficiency, I think Manju spoke about this a bit initially. When I talk about operational efficiency, what we're talking about is providing admins with the capability of configuring the app itself, right? An easy way of managing the Workspace app. Right? And that's one of the goals. Like I said, I want to go back to that goals again. One goal that we want to address is how do we make the admin's life easy? The app should be easy to manage. The app should be easy to maintain, right? Global App Configuration Service is a service that we've introduced to manage the app, to configure the app, right? And there are multiple options available on Global App Config Service. You can push settings down to the app. Global App Config Service also supports store configuration via email discovery. We have a separate dedicated session for this next month. And I'm going to shamelessly plug this towards the end of the session too. But yeah, we do have a dedicated session available for this. The reason I kind of bring this up is I want to talk through the next feature that we have available, and that requires Global App Config Service. With Global App Config Service, what you could also do is push agents to the device. And we all know that Workspace app is not the only app that runs within the Citrix ecosystem, right? If customers are leveraging, let's say, if you're leveraging Netscaler and you're using, let's say, endpoint analysis, so EPA is an agent that's installed on the endpoint. If you're leveraging SSO, Secure Access Agent is an agent that's installed on the endpoint. If you're using Zoom, there is a Zoom optimization plugin. If you're using WebEx, there's a WebEx optimization plugin. Right? Consider a scenario where the device is unmanaged, right? And a lot of customers are leveraging BYO because of COVID. They've moved to a hybrid way of working, and BYO is the name of the game, right? The customers are allowing users to bring their own devices. It's unmanaged. And if those users come in and they want to access Citrix Workspace and all these agents are required in the ecosystem, it's a nightmare, right? You can't go back to the user and say, hey, install Workspace app, download Zoom plugin, download EPA plugin, download a Secure Access Agent plugin, right? So what we have done is we've introduced a suite of apps that can be pushed through Global App Config Service, right? It's agent management. So it's very simple. What it does is the first thing that the admin can do with Global App Config Service and agent management is they can configure the agent requirements for the end users. They do that on Global App Config Service. They say, hey, if this user is coming in through this door, these are the agents we need to push, right? So that's what it does. CWA, the user enters the store. CWA then checks for the list of agents from Global App Config Service. Then the Workspace app downloads the required agents and packages and installs them, right? And it installs them from another service that we have. It's called Auto Update Service. And that's important when I talk about the next feature, right? And that's pretty much it, right? I mean, what the user requires is just the Workspace app. And the rest of the ecosystem in terms of agents required is pulled down automatically. And that's the power of Global App Config Service. So, when I talk about ease of management, these are features that we're building to ensure that the app can be managed easily. So today we support EPA, Secure Access Agent, the endpoint analysis and Secure Access Agent. Zoom optimization plugin is supported. WebEx optimization is in tech preview.
So perhaps we just want to clarify, Prashanth, the client, the app management part, the agent management is on cloud today, right? And
yes,
available.
it is.
Yeah, that's one. And auto update, however, the service is available on both, but on the global app configuration, the user interface, it will only show, and through APIs, it will only show up for cloud. Yeah, so
For cloud.
Still leverage auto update on-prem as well, but it's not through global app service. Yeah.
Yes, so auto update, that's a service independent of Global App Config Service. So, auto update, this is a service that we introduced, I believe, a couple of years ago, right? What this service does, or was leveraged to do, was update the Workspace app itself. So there is a option for both the current release and the LTSR. You could turn the auto update option on, and whenever there is a new app version available, that new version is pulled down automatically from our service, from the update service, and the endpoint is updated accordingly, right? So that's the auto update service, and we've also made some enhancements there. We've listened to customers again, right? A lot of our customers have come back and said, "Hey, I like this service a lot. This kind of helps us to manage the app better," right? I mean, it's not on our head anymore. We don't have to package it again and again. Any new version that's released, if you look at the release cycle today, I mean, the current version, the current release of the app, a new version is out there every 6 weeks. With LTSR, obviously, there's a 15 months life cycle, but current releases, every 6 weeks, there is a new version and there are new features that we introduce. So, this is a boon for customers. I mean, that's what they've said. I'm not using my words here. Because they don't have to package it anymore and don't have to push it through other tools. It's available, it's automatically updated. And a couple of features that customers have requested and that we have made available now is version control. So you still have that flexibility, even though it's auto updated, you can pin it to a max version if you want to. And when I say you can pin it to a max version, you can pin it to a max version of N-2. We keep 3 versions of the app in our auto update service. So you could pin it to N-2, and you could stick to N-2 till you kind of tested newer versions in your environment and you figure out that everything works fine, then you could kind of change that. So this, again, the JSON that you see here, this is global app config service JSON. You could use global app config service to version control. And we also have recently introduced silent background update. With silent background update, user is not prompted when an update happens anymore, right? So if there's an update available, we just bring the update down, download the new version down. We wait for the Workspace app to go idle, and then in the background update it, right? So these 2 are features that we recently introduced for Windows. Mac is on the way. Now, again, a quick pause. I want to run a poll. Wanted to check from you, what among the below would help you adopt auto update service, not the global app config service, but the auto update service. Your feedback will definitely help. As you give us feedback, let's see if there are any questions that need to be addressed.
Yes, so I think, so auto update with CU versions, right? So in terms of accumulated update. The question is, can auto update be limited to CU updates only? Well, the answer is no, right? So do we support auto update for LTSR?
We do. So you can specify which channel you want the update to be pulled down from, whether it is the current release or the LTSR. So LTSR is available. And you could choose to do auto update for LTSR CUs also.
That's good.
Great. Yeah, I mean, the top 2, Manju, you see that. I mean, this is, again, I think, something that we've heard a lot, right? Provide a rollback feature and use a group-based targeted rollout. So yeah, we hear you. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. And finally, choice and flexibility. When it comes to choice and flexibility, like Manju said, the first thing is we want to support the customers where they are on the journey. Hybrid is not a journey. I mean, it could be the destination too. So to help support customers where they are, we have universal subscription licenses, through which the customers have the freedom to use the Citrix or run Citrix management infrastructure where they want, right? They could run it on-prem, or they can choose to use our control plane. The subscription licenses are the same if you choose to do either or. And obviously you have anyway the choice of deploying the infrastructure for resources, right? That choice you had before, the choice continues. You could deploy that anywhere. That theme of choice and flexibility, keeping that theme in mind, we announced support for third-party MDM on both our mobile platform and on Mac, right? So again, feedback that we've received from a lot of customers, right? Customers are using MDM solutions, be it Intune or Mobile Iron. They're using that to, or Jamf, right? They're using that to, manage BYO devices. Some customers are, at least. And they're using that to push apps down to BYO devices. They're using that to manage apps that are pushed down, configure apps that are pushed down to the devices. So the feedback that we've received was, can I manage the Workspace app through an MDM that I use? With this support, you can. So we support store configuration on iOS and Android. So that is addition of the store, deletion of the store, loading of the store, whether it is loaded as a native UI or a web interface UI. So that is supported today using any MDM. If you have any MDM, we support that. And same is supported on Mac OS. Mac OS also supports you to push Workspace app settings down to the managed device, right? So third-party MDM support is now available, and we are adding more capabilities to this. A couple of quick demos. I spoke about client app management. I want to just show you a quick demo on how an EPA and a secure access agent is installed, right? So user has just the Workspace app on the device. The user adds the Workspace store to the app. Once the store is added, the app contacts global app config service. It sees what agents are required for this specific store. It pulls down that agents. In this case, it's EPA secure access agent. It pulls down that agents, downloads that agents, and installs them automatically on the endpoint. And it's done completely in the background. The user is not even aware of it. This message shows up only if the agent is required for pre-login. That's what EPA is. EPA is a blocker, right? And you require endpoint analysis to be done before login. That's when that message shows up, but otherwise it doesn't. So if you look at it, both EPA and secure access agents are installed, right? That's the notification that you see. And there you go, agent is installed. All that you need is just Workspace app and client app management with global app config service. And the rest of the magic happens. Store configuration. I want to show you store configuration on iOS. There's a very simple demo. The Workspace app is pushed by, we're using Intune here. Intune pushes Workspace app. When the user launches the app, the store is pre-configured. User does not have to enter the store. It's pre-configured already. All that the user has to do is enter their credentials, and that's it, right? So there's no need of entering a URL or anything, right? Or email, nothing. It's pre-configured, push down, and launch of your app would trigger login, and user logs in, and the store is available. And in conclusion, what I want to say is, I hope that these features that you see are aligned with the goals that I mentioned at the beginning of the call, right? Our goal, our mission is to make the Workspace app simple, intuitive, make it fast, ensure that users access their work applications quicker, make it secure, and make it easy to manage for the admins. And that's what is any feature that we build going forward is going to be keeping these four pillars in mind, right? And that's it. That's the end of the presentation from my end. Quickly, Manju, do you want to plug this or?
Yes, so I mean, I think before we plug in that, just very quickly on one of the topics that we were disconnected session yet, auto launch of disconnected session. So we stay corrected, and thank you so much for giving us that feedback that in concurrent licenses, the disconnected sessions go back to the pool and termination. So I just got that clarified internally, and I think some of them also quoted it from the documentation. So we stay corrected. So as you're aware, if some of you are aware, that is in private tech preview, public tech preview. So it gives us a little bit of leeway to ensure that we have controls in place to disable it. So we go back and we'll ensure that we have that in place when we go GA. Thank you for providing us that feedback, and we'll ensure we keep that.
Apologies, concurrent. My mind reverted to user device, so apologies for that. Yeah.
Yes. So finally, follow-up webinars. From our team, we will have a detailed session on how to use the global app configuration service. We will cover auto update services as well as client app management as part of the global app configuration service in detail. So we really encourage you to join that session and also provide more feedback. And if you haven't tested it, do test it. As some of you may know, if you have a cloud account, you should access it. And if you don't have access or a cloud account on-prem, we still would be providing you access. So just get in touch with your account team and we will enable that for you. Yeah. Second part, as Prashanth has already communicated about the the user experience enhancements which is coming through. But there will also be a lot more getting introduced. And in June, you will also have a lot of news. I mean, basically, it's going generally available with respect to new user interface enhancements, which is coming through. So look forward to that. And we will be happy to have you in that session as well and take you through the same. Thank you so much.
I know we have a couple of minutes more. Any final Q&A questions that we need to answer, Manju?
And just there's auto update. How does it work for multi-Citrix connection? Not sure I understand that. What you mean multi-store? Multi-Citrix connection.
So auto update works on the app level. So it's not specific to any store, if I understand the question correctly. So it is.
The question is multi-Citrix connection. So I think that's probably what it is. So it's at the app level and the client app level, right? So
yeah, once it's updated, it's updated for all, right? And it's not specific to a store. So we'll not be able to switch versions based on stores. So if it's updated, it remains on that version for all.
Yeah, and as Prashanth mentioned, with the poll, we don't support rollback today. So
yes,
consider it. Yeah. Multi-Citrix customers. Okay, Stephen has actually clarified that. How does auto update work with multi-Citrix customers? So I think you're talking about a scenario of a consultant who probably access multiple companies.
Yeah, using exactly. So like I said, it's global. So it's at an app level. Once the app is updated, that version remains for any store or different customer environment that they might access.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question, Stephen.
Looks like he says yes. Okay. Did we cover everything? Did everybody get their answers? Scrolling back through, I think so. I did put links in the chat to those 2 webinars that go directly to them if you want to sign up now. Okay, well, are we ready to close out? Did we cover everything?
Yes, we did cover from our end. I think there's an area that Chris has raised with respect to auto update in SCCM. We may need a little more information, Chris, in terms of investigating if it is a configuration issue or something else. So if you can raise a ticket, or you can reach out to your ATS or your account team, we can work with them and help you resolve it. Otherwise, we're all good. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, Prashanth and Manju, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to the next one. And I'll make sure I share everything with you guys tomorrow and the recording email that goes out. And definitely reach back out to CUGC HQ if you have any questions about anything. All right, well, we'll see you on the next ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.